With Curiosity, we land in something that actually looks very Mars-like, but it also looks Earth-like.
This is the original image. We zoom in here and see this little unusual piece right here, and this looks like the shape of a wolf's head. You can see a snout right here, There's an eye right here. You can see it a little bit more here. This is a high pass that I did, and you can see some different degrees. You can see it pretty good here. Here's the head, the eye, the snout. There's a leg curving out this way, a leg curving out this way, and a big fluffy tail right here. It looks like a wolf or a fox or something possibly. I'm going to do some more things here. There's another view with the overlay. There's a soft light, hard light, luminosity. You can see a little bit more stand out there. There's a little more color, but here's the head, and then you can see it around here. Now when we shut all these off and go back to the original,
And we have this image, which was pointed out or spotted by Steve Bolden, who's a member of my Mars Magazine page on Facebook, Arsenian TV Mars Magazine. So if you're not a member, come along, it's completely free. And you'll often see these things first before you see them on YouTube or anywhere else, or in the newspapers. So check it out. This is an interesting find, this one. And you can see some of the comments here. You know, looks like a Klingon bird of prey, looks mechanical, that kind of thing. Interesting find. And people are sort of trying to figure out what this is. There's also a comment here, which is cool, by Neville Thompson, who's pointed out that it's actually in two photographs. Well, it's not in two photographs. It's only in one photograph taken at the same time as another. Now, on this particular Sol, which is 1940, which isn't that long ago, the Hazcam took this image here, and we have this object just there, okay? Now, you can't see a lot of it here, so I'll show you a close-up in a second. So whatever this was moving extremely quickly for it not to show up in this image, because this one was taken at the same time. Now, the question is whether it was taken at exactly the same time, because it says here, 20th of the 1st, 2018 it was taken, for 14:57 and 11 seconds, right? So that's the left one with the UFO in it. And the right one, let's look at the time down here, exactly the same time and date. So 14:57 and 11 seconds. So that is the same time. Now, are the images actually taken at exactly the same time? Because there's only one sensor for the camera. I actually think that they were probably taken a few milliseconds apart, okay? Because cameras don't generally take two images at once. Stereo cameras can, but you know, they're two separate images. They're taken sort of almost exactly the same time. Less, obviously, a lot less than the second. So when we say they're taken at the same time, yeah, it depends on how you measure the time. But whatever you believe about that, the fact is, it's not in both images. It's in this one, taken on the left. Now, is it possible that it could have gone behind the arm here? Could it actually be there, behind the arm? Or has it shot completely over to the left here? Or did it go this way, out of shot? Did it go over here and go behind this part of the rover here? It could have done. It could be behind this thing. It could have shot that way. So it wouldn't have actually had to have moved that far for it to go out of shot in the right image here. So don't really know. That's pure speculation. Let me show you the close-ups here before we go any further. So yeah, it's a great find by Steve Bolden. This I've done a little montage here showing the raw image, which is this, a clip of the raw image, and an enlarged, enhanced clip. Now that's only just a real basic brightness and contrast adjustment there. Okay, as you can see, the details match. If we zoom into that, okay, if you look at the shape of that and then look at this, it does match up. Of course, it's out of focus and it's blurred. Is this motion blur we're seeing here? It could well be. Now, of course, Mars isn't supposed to have any life on it, or at least that's what we've been told.
Recent photos captured by the Mars Spirit rover shows what appears to be a bird-like object in the sky of Mars. Skeptics said that perhaps it's something on the lens of the camera. However, some believe it could show an animal. The mysterious bird-like creature flying past the sky could be a number of things, and it's difficult to tell how far away from the rover the object is. The object in question does appear to be bird or insect-like, and the object is symmetrical, which some say does away with the theory that it might have been a rock or debris. Some who viewed the image are certain that it proves things are living on Mars.
this photo than just this one anomaly, and I'm going to show you this. But check this out. I told you guys that this was going to prove 1,000% that this is intelligently made. And you can see without doing anything to this photo. I'm not doing anything. This is in the pan. All they do is they took the photos, stitched them together. That's it. Now, just look at the way this thing has an end to it. Parallel lines. One on the top, almost comes to a point. The one over here, I'm going to call it a side. It's either a boat, a bottom of a ship, or some kind of structure. Check this out. You've got cross members too. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to see this a little bit better in a second. But there's also things back here that's also been rendered 2D, and it's actually taller than that. So let's get into that. I want to show you the better photo of this. Now, this is from Midnight Planets, which is also NASA. Nothing's changed as far as that goes. Let's zoom into that. Now, you can't go in that far, but you can actually see this. I'll bring this a lot closer in Photoshop in a moment. But you can see these cross members right here going right across this thing. Now, how can you have parallel lines running this way and then having them running parallel in an opposite direction? See that? They're going straight across this. This clearly is not natural. I don't believe so. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just change the color, at least put it more natural, and see what we got. You can see this right here. Going across, going right down. Of course, it's not too straight, but you get the idea. Going like this. You can see it just kind of does this, kind of stops, right? But then you've got one. You've got something way down here. Looks like it's kind of got a bow to it. It actually comes up like this, goes like that. You've got another right here, because I actually didn't go straight with this. You can see it right here. It's supposed to go do this. One right here. You can see one just faintly right here. Stops right there. And you've got a thicker one that does it right here. Now, to me, this is no way at all is that natural. No way, no how. Now, let me back out of it a little bit. Bring it up a little bit better. And again, you can see this with ease, man. I mean, look at this. It literally has a bowed piece there. You can see just a piece going here. One going right here, it's halfway through it. One's faint right here. Another here. And this one here, it actually goes like this. It kind of like, see how it has like an outer bow? It kind of like bows upward. And again, we've got the two sides. I mean, now if this doesn't prove to you guys that this is intelligently made, I don't know what to tell you guys.
I've got the images up here, and here's the basic clip that I took, which is, I think, this one. And that's completely raw off the screen, as you can see. I've done nothing to that. But even so, at this level of zoom, you can see there's a boat shape here with what looks like a smashed up cabin just there, with all the roof kind of ripped open. Okay? Now, I did an enhancement. I also tilted it slightly to the right to straighten the image out. And here's the first enhancement I did. And what I've done is I've basically really upped the contrast and played around with the brightness settings, and I've also gone around it a bit with the light and darken tool just to outline the shape slightly, just so you can see the shape. I'll zoom back a bit. It actually looks like a lot of these things. You get too close, it doesn't get any clearer. You've got to sit back a bit from them. They're low quality photographs to start with, and they're quite heavily damaged by NASA. They're compressed down, and a lot of the information is lost. So what I've done here is to try and restore some of that information by enhancing the image and brightening some parts, like the roof here and stuff like that. So now it looks to me like a sort of cabin cruiser, like you would see in the harbour, a gym palace sort of thing that rich people would go on and get pissed and.
Do it right. Okay, guys. Now, the anomaly that we're seeing is right here in the lower corner, and what looks like is, for all intents and purposes, some kind of weird concrete block. Is it more to it than that? let's have a look. Now, guys, I find this full credit goes to Martine Graney for this. Great work as always. All right, let's hop into this because I want you guys to see something else. This is what I want people to take note of before I go on. A lot of people say, well, you know, clearly these are just rocks, there's nothing else. Listen, at some point, there's got to be something that's going to make you go, whoa, don't expect a crystal clear picture of a structure. It's not going to happen. Why? Because they're hiding this stuff. Why would people expect to see a clear, detailed structure? So now we have to use Photoshop to try to break their manipulations, their obfuscations, so on and so forth, right? Here's what I want you to take note of. What you may be seeing is probably fooling your eyes, which that's the whole idea, is trickery, right? To cover up whatever may be there that's intelligently made. Don't have to be high tech, right? But check this out. Just this item right here in this corner, on this right-hand side in this photo, check this out. Look at the way this thing is white, comes over, and I didn't concentrate on this piece. I concentrated on the concrete block. But check this out. Right there, comes down, goes in like this, nice round circle, comes back out. You're telling me that's natural? Come on, guys, come on. But notice how, like, they took the background, and basically you can use the lasso tool and just drop this right on top. Basically cut and paste a fabric or the ground surrounding it and drop it on top. The problem is they don't cover it all the time. This is the little nook and crannies you guys need to concentrate on. This right here is an actual anomaly, and it looks like it's been covered, like they try to cover it with this background. Or down here, notice how this is blurry, see it? Got some good detail right here, decent anyway, and then all of a sudden completely blurred out. Why? Why is it? It's not that so much, I mean, it is a low-res photo, but that's not the point. The point is, how do you go from, well, semi-decent to complete mush when it's in front of the said objects, right? And they could very well be rocks. But this here, look at that. It's got like a little, radius to it right here. Comes down. Look at the corner right there. Comes down, goes up like this. Has a hole there, comes back out. Whatever this item is, it actually looks like, I don't know if that's the end of this right here, or if that's a manipulation they try to block out. Or it looks like a nice 90-degree angle right there. Whatever this white piece is, that's the actual anomaly, not this crud here. And I'm going to show you what I mean when we look at this rock. Anyway, so here's the photo. We're going to go ahead and put it more natural, and here to me is more natural. Look at this. That's how Photoshop sees the photo. This looks more natural, doesn't it? Okay, let's jump into this. So we're going to get over here, jump down here, and what I'm seeing, I don't know if anybody else is seeing this, but when I look at this here, I can see right here, it's got this round. I think this actually goes this way. I think it actually cuts behind this straight piece. See it right there? This comes down, goes over here, and it's kind of, it has this shape to it. Look, it goes up, it has this corner, goes over here. This goes all the way down, and it almost looks like it's designed. This to me is not, that's not natural. This right here, look at it, it's like a block, and it looks like rebar. That's what it basically looks like. Now, let's have a better look. I'm going to just go ahead and enhance these a little bit more. I started to try to burn it to see if we could find anything else in the photo. Now, you can see what looks like this little round circle. This isn't the true colors of this thing. You can see what looks like a little white piece sticking out. These are the things you want to pay attention to. It's these little pieces that is the actual anomalies. And then you might say, well, how is that? Well, this piece may be embedded in this concrete. We don't know, right? It's pure speculation. Here's another thing I want to show you right at the top of the photo. Move it over. Check this out. See this? Check this out. It appears to have wings. This thing would have to be pretty darn big from this point of view, looking up and over these rocks, right? Check that out. As well as this one, maybe even in the background, but I'll dismiss these. This, no. It looks like it actually has wings.
Is Mars really red? When you see Mars in the night sky, it definitely has a reddish tint to it. People have been noticing that for a long time. Even the ancient Egyptians called Mars the Red One. So where does that redness come from? Well, a lot of rocks on Mars are full of iron, and when they're exposed to the great outdoors, they oxidize and turn reddish, the same way an old bike left out in the yard gets all rusty. When rusty dust from those rocks gets kicked up in the atmosphere, it makes the Martian sky look pink. From a long way away, the whole planet looks kind of reddish, but if you get a close-up view, with an orbiter, lander, or rover, you'll see that a lot of Mars is actually more of a butterscotch color. Depending on what minerals are around, some landscapes can be more golden, brown, tan, or even a little greenish. So in fact, there are a lot of different colors on what we call the red planet.
Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from Maritonian TV. Another game of interplanetary I Spy going on here, back on Mars. But we are with the Spirit rover, and the Spirit rover took this image years ago, I think back in 2004 or 5, I think it was. And we have this image here, you've got a ridge line of rocks coming right to the front here, and we have a rather strange object here. Now, is this a rock? Possibly. Is it something else? It may well be, and it was brought to my attention by Vladimir Vladimirov, who posted this on Mars Moon Space TV. Mars Moon Space on Facebook. Okay, Facebook group, and here we have his set of images here, and you can clearly see that this is not a normal rock, if it is a rock, and really does look like a piece of wreckage. And he's cleverly compared it, I think, to this, which I found quite funny to start with, but actually when you look at the shape of this object, it does bear some resemblance to the front of a camper van or vehicle of some sort. Pretty crazy, I know, but do bear in mind that this guy also, Vladimir Vladimirov, is the guy that discovered the Mars battle tank, which is something I published about a month ago, and is doing rather well on YouTube. And really does look like a tank. It has a turret and that's a gun, and it's got wheels on the side, and it has, well, it just does look like a tank. It may not be, but it really does look like one. I'll put this page up as well for you in the links below, as well as all the other links for the Wikipedia page. If you don't know much about the Spirit rover, it was sent up in 2004 and ran for a good 6 years before it conked out at the end of 2009, I think it was. 2010 or something like that. So yeah, it ran for 6 years and sent back thousands of images, as all the rovers have so far, many thousands of images, and this is an early one taken right back from Sol 105. So this was in the first 105 days that they were on the surface. It was on the surface, I should say.
Of what looks to contain a large dome-shaped structure. It is an official NASA picture, one of the many showing these anomalous domed-shaped objects, which if you follow our channel, we have investigated numerous times in the past. We have found a large number of these dome-shaped structures, some of which being composed of a solid, non-see-through material, while others being composed of a glass-like material.
All right, NASA hopes a year-long experiment that just ended will help reveal what it would be like to send astronauts to Mars. To prepare for a potential mission in the 2030s, researchers studied 6 people living like astronauts in a dome on top of a volcano in Hawaii.
Suited up with helmets on, a group of college students make their way onto the surface of Mars. Well, not exactly. This is the southern Utah desert.
Look out at this arid red landscape, and it really feels like you've traveled to a new world.
The first time we arrived on Devon Island, we landed in this plane. The team was very small, with just 4 people. And I was just completely taken aback by how Mars-like the whole landscape was.
Especially you're flying in, it looks just like a moon base. The land is desolate.
We had to take 7 flights to get here. It's a really tough undertaking, but it's extremely fascinating.
This is a place that is barren.
Vast, intimidating.
You're rambling through areas that are quite dangerous.
It's isolated and remote and rocky, just like the surface of Mars is.
I think someday there will be humans walking on Mars, definitely.
My guess is that the first people who land on Mars will say something to the effect, "Oh wow, this looks just like Devon Island, where we trained." My guess is that the first people who land on Mars will say something to the effect, "Oh wow, this looks just like Devon Island, where we trained."
It was announced a few days ago the InSight spacecraft made a successful landing on Mars. InSight is short for Interior Exploration Using Seismic Investigations, Geodesy and Heat Transport. This mission is particularly important because it's designed to give the red planet its first thorough checkup since its formation. However, it's only been a few days and theorists claim they see a humanoid's reflection. One of the problems with Mars exploration is people want to find life, so they are actively looking for it. This reflection can be seen on the InSight deployment camera. It started to make the rounds around social media and people have been putting forward their theories. One person named Kate said the following: "Going back a few years, there was something similar to this photo. It was the Mars rover and people were saying that it looked like an engineer was leaning over the rover itself. It sounds too far-fetched, but I think something could be going on. Why do we always see strange things on this planet? I think it could be due to the fact that humans are already living on Mars, and every so often they prove this when they slip up. I think this is an example of someone being on the planet."
I just had another gentleman, his name's Kyle. He sent in a photo, and he said, I looked at this photo that you done. Now, this one here, of course, is from Pathfinder. You can see the lander here in the front. And, of course, you got the Sojourner rover right here. And if you guys remember, I did a enhancement of what's in the background. Now, what I said was it looks like vehicles of some sort right here, and what looks like some weird framework in the back, okay? Now, very rarely do we have, you know, people will sit there and they'll research and they'll do their own research, which is awesome. Now, I've done this too. If you guys go back to that video, you'll see it. This object here I did to begin with. And then I had done the background because I'm going, what is going on here? Somebody had mentioned, hey, Chris, this looks like there's a bunch of vehicles or something in the background. You need to check it out. So lo and behold, I did that. And like I said, they look like vehicles buried. There's 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to show you that photo in a moment. And guys, very few people do the background, okay? Kyle did. He says, hey, listen, this is from my my photo editing software. I don't know if he stumbled on this by actually trying to enhance it and this thing just found this. I'm not sure, but great find. I'm going to show you what he found because this is pretty cool. Now, this is his particular photo, enhanced. Now, what I find bizarre about this is a couple things. Now, you can see those weird vehicles are right here. 1, 2, and the foreground I already enhanced, so it's no big deal. But what's in the background is crazy. Look at this. All the way across, all the way up. Now, notice how these things go behind this hill, right? I'm not even really sure that's even a hill, to be truthful with you guys, but check that out. It goes behind, and there's some, like, you can still see it's behind it and comes back down and so on and so forth. And there's a couple that may be on top, or this was added to try to get rid of something that was, like, even closer to the foreground, and they wanted to take it out. I don't know. Here's another thing I observed. Now, this is a pan they had made. You can see right here, and this shows it perfectly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I believe there's another one over here somewhere. It's just barely noticeable. But what I notice is this a sunrise? Small, medium, and then large. Pretty crazy. Or does it just happen to be light coming from these structures? Now, here's another option. Might be just artifacts of the actual photo. I know you guys would agree with me. You never see anything in the background of these photos. You ever notice that? You always see right from, let me see if I can find it. You always see right from here. You don't see anything ever in the background. Now, that's possible because depending on the distance, right? But it always seems like there might be just a fine line there, and that's where you're getting these photo artifacts that separate the actual photo and what they did in the background to block it out. Or is what we're seeing and what we're seeing in this photo, is that real? I don't know. This is where it gets crazy because I'll tell you what, that would kind of coincide with these vehicles sitting here, and there's a city right in the background. I'm not saying that's what it is, guys, because these could be nothing more than artifacts of the photo. But what I find interesting is that this lighted area is behind. See that? They're behind these actual artifacts. You guys be the judge of this. I'm kind of curious because this may actually be an actual structures in the background. Like I said, the way that it goes behind, and this light right here is also behind these what look like structures to me. I'm not saying that they are. There's no way to prove it. Pure speculation. Now, again, these are in the foreground compared to this light. This one is, and so is in this one. It almost seems like they took at different times of day, which they do many times. This is not the first time you see this. This happens many times. This is the reason why sometimes you look at a photo and there's a certain shadow on this rock, and it's totally different from the one over in this rock. Why? Because they're actual stitched together photos taken from different times of the day, and this would actually, it almost looks like a sunrise coming up, and then up. And you notice it's in different times or different frames of this said photo. Now, is it possible these are real? Let me show you what I did. I actually just threw it over my photo. Now, again, this is the one I enhanced right here. And what I did was I took his and dropped it on the background over this hill. Let me show you what I've got. Now, his is a little bit more grainier, but nonetheless, it's there. Now, whoops. Let me just zoom in. Now, here's the vehicles. All right? Now, I made this black and white in the back, so it blend even better instead of being like this bright orange and yellowy, right? But check this out. Is it possible that's what's really in the background? See it all? Let me just zoom back in. And here you go. Well, you just see the Sojourner. You don't see the actual lander, which I didn't want in the photo anyway. But check this out. Is it possible that those are real? And of course, there's no way to vet this, so it's pure speculation. But I think it's wild that if these are in fact vehicles, wouldn't surprise me if there's some kind of structures behind it or around them, because common sense, right? Vehicle city. Even if you lived in a country, you'd have to have houses. Most people have vehicles. So you guys tell me what you think. I think this is pretty wild, and it's a great find. Thank you, Kyle, for sending this in. Most people don't do the background. That's what I find intriguing about it. I'm glad he did it because, wow, even a buddy of mine, Santo, he was from Mars Unmasked. He did one. It looked like all pixelations in the back. They all had this raised area, and they look like the structures only in pixels. In other words, interrupted pixels. They all look like little structures, and then all of the other background had like uniform pixels except for on the actual skyline. What do you guys think? Again, vehicles, structures. I don't know. You guys be the judge. Let me know what you think is going on here, because I think that's pretty wild.
A man named James said the following: I think that people see what they want to see. Things like this can be seen here on our planet. For example, if you look into the forest at night, you will see flickering shadows. This isn't anything paranormal, but rather the natural light playing tricks on the mind. This is the same with these types of photographs. They manipulate our imagination. Not that NASA have commented on this photo, but if they were to, they'd most likely say this is a case of pareidolia. This is where the mind makes us think something is there when it's not. Common examples include seeing images of animals or faces in clouds.